won't heal, but it never does. That's cause you at war with love. You at war with love. Yeah.
Start fire. An off-duty police detective working security at Pulse, Adam Gruler, radioed in.
Shots fired, 1912, South Orange Avenue, shots fired, multiple down. Signal 43 on patrol.
The protest at my upcoming show.
You know you're doing something right when the Westboro Baptist Church pickets your show.
Listen, broad and easy is the way that leads to hell, and many people protesting this show here tonight. Can you guys make me a promise? Can you promise me that you will be yourself, unapologetically, always? I love every single one of you just as you are.
You almost had me fooled. Told me that I was nothing without you. Oh, but after everything you've done, I can thank you for how strong I have become. 'Cause you brought the flames and you put me through hell. I had to learn how to fight for myself, and we both know all the truth I could tell. I'll just say this as I wish you farewell. I hope you're somewhere praying, praying. I hope your soul is changing, changing. I hope you find your peace, falling on your knees, praying.
The LGBT community has a rich history, but starting from 1953, President Eisenhower signed an executive order banning LGBT folks from working for the federal office. In 1961, we see the first positive movement on a state level when Illinois became the first state to decriminalize homosexuality. In 1973, Maryland took a step back and legally banned same-sex marriage. In 1974, the community took another step forward when Kathy Kozanchenko of Michigan and Elaine Noble of Massachusetts became the first LGBT members elected into political office. In 1975, the first federal gay rights bill for discrimination is brought up to conversation. In 1978, LGBT idol Harvey Milk was introduced as San Francisco city supervisor.
What about us?
In Des Moines or San Antonio, there's a young gay person who all of a sudden realizes that she or he is gay, knows that if the parents find out, they'll be tossed out of the house. The classmates would taunt the child, and the Anita Bryans and John Briggs are doing their bit on TV, and that child had several options. Staying in a closet, suicide, and then one day that child might open.
But shortly after, Harvey Milk was murdered. In 1993, President Bill Clinton prohibits LGBT members from entering the military and introduces the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy.
I believe when you tell people they can't do certain things in this country that other people can do, there ought to be an overwhelming and compelling reason for it.
Later, in 1996, President Clinton officially defines marriage as a woman-to-man union. In 2003, the Supreme Court opts to continue the law that decriminalizes same-sex conduct.
It is the best way to proceed because it provides a sensible balance between the rights of the individual and the needs of our military to remain the world's #1 fighting force.
The President consulted with his Joint Chiefs of Staff and indicated to us, as the President of all Americans and as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, that he wanted to modify this policy. And he asked us to go study it. He didn't change it on the spot. He asked us to go study it with a goal toward showing a little more flexibility with respect to that policy.
In 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is repealed, and LGBT members can join the military.
We must continually renew this promise. This year, I will work with Congress and our military to finally repeal the law that denies gay Americans the right to serve the country they love because of who they are. It's the right thing to do.
In 2015, President Obama announces national marriage equality. This not only boosted hope and morale for a brighter future of LGBT members young and old, but also impacted LGBT civil rights. Redefining what constitutes a marriage comes with many benefits. Benefits that LGBT aging community never had. Before same-sex spouse was legal, all aging LGBT members could not receive the benefits that Medicare and Medicaid had to offer. Currently, aging members are able to enjoy spousal protection and family and medical leave benefits.
As your president, I will do everything in my...
Unfortunately, there was little time to celebrate, and 2 short years later, the LGBT community will fight another administration attempting to set back their rights. In 2017, the Trump administration put a 6-month delay on transgendered members joining the military. In 2018, Trump himself signs the policy that will make transgender members ineligible for active duty. In addition to these LGBT setbacks, the Trump administration has also surged to protect workers who refuse service based on religious grounds. The fight is still continuing, and with many anti-LGBT members in the Trump administration, there is no saying what the next steps could be. Many allies have come out of the woodwork in support of the community, from businesses, celebrities, schools, and even politicians. There is nonstop support coming from both ends, but the community is progressively pushing forward, going forward as the fight continues.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual. Bobby and his friends hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed, and as it was late, he suggested they take the shortcut under the pier, but the others preferred to take the more traveled way home. Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom. The shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all. After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life.
The media portrayal of LGBT community has been nothing bleak of glamour or horror. Dating back to the 1970s anti-gay propaganda, the Hollywood industry has exploited the LGBT community, from marking them as rapists, sexual predators, or deviant individuals, to modern-day glorifying and institutionally creating and contributing to what we know today as the gay culture. Television shows and movies have contributed much to bringing various stereotypes to light. The consequences are subject to the definition of being homosexual, but like their heterosexual counterparts, not every member fits into the same box. The media has installed their version of what it means to be homosexual in the minds of anyone who hasn't experienced it. Gay males are portrayed to be fun, flamboyant, and self-aware, while gay women are tomboys, butches, and masculine.
Worried that we wouldn't accept your lifestyle?
No, what lifestyle? And to be perfectly honest, this isn't a big surprise. No, your unholy love of camping?
Oh, that Annie DeFranco box set?
That Melissa Etheridge collection and the women's softball league.
He's basically invented the online hookup. Right after they invented Bravo and Lady Gaga and breaking out into song in the middle of a normal play.
Not about. She got all clingy. You know the saying, right? What does a lesbian bring on a second date? A U-Haul.
You know how lesbians are. You know what a lesbian brings on a second date, right? A U-Haul. That's right, a U-Haul.
You have no idea how bleak it is out there.
So bleak.
Oh, and you gotta do it soon, before she has a second date with that loser from last night, because you know what lesbians bring on a second date.
A U-Haul.
Representation of the LGBT community in the media started blooming in the mid-90s when icons like Ellen DeGeneres came out publicly on national TV. Since then, Hollywood has progressively pushed the issue for better or worse. Television shows, books, magazines, movies, and even social media has played a key role in shaping new generations' ideas on homosexuality. The stigma to be perfect, fun, or polished still comes from the institutionalized idea of what we describe as the gay culture. Comparably, in studies conducted, homosexuals are 42% more likely to develop eating disorders such as bulimia or anorexia. Like heterosexuals, homosexuals are not excluded from objectifying their body. The pressure to fit into new orthodoxies or old orthodoxies is a struggle many individuals face. With help from the media and advertisement companies, certain body images are seen as desirable, and if you cannot achieve these types, you're virtually useless within the gay community. For example, descriptive terms are used to describe certain attributes, such as bears, twinks, and otters.
Well, what's your type?
I don't know. I need advisors, like a gay presidential cabinet.
We'll help you, sugar. So let's walk you through this. I'm a bear. Typically, we're barrel-chested, covered in hair, and most comfortable in flannel.
Got it. That makes sense.
And that's an otter. They're like bears, but littler.
And we like to float on our backs.
You also got a silver fox, a bull, a wolf, a dolphin.
And I'm a giraffe, which just means I'm tall.
It's Drag Queen Wednesday.
Great.
It's not very scandalous.
Contraire. Look at all the glamorous drag queens. Look, there's a Cher and Tina Turner and is that Lucy or Reba?
That is Ginger from Gilligan's Island.
Blood red stains on the floor of the powder room. The cracks in the mirror are starting to show too soon. Mascara lines streaming down her face. Her cocaine lipstick smile is such a waste. On the floor, she's almost dead. She remembers the words that her father once said.
Hi, I'm Becca. I identify closely, I guess the closest thing would be bisexual.
My name is Brandon Drown, and I identify as a cisgendered gay male.
My name is Nick Butt, and I am a trans male with a very fluctuating, I guess, appearance. What's the word? Self-expression. That's then.
My name is Dan Matthew, and I am a gay man, 53-year-old gay man.
I don't really lean towards masculine nor feminine when it comes to the way I look. I'm fairly androgynous, but I wholly and entirely see myself as a man. Like, okay, the one biggest thing that's ever with people, I guess, is bathrooms is one thing. It's the biggest thing for trans people, like the hugest thing. But me being the person I am, I've been beat up in a bathroom before, so like I'm fine having to go to the girls' bathroom if I feel like I'm unsafe, which is sucky and it's stupid. And now the fact that people are like trying to attack that for the younger generation and be like, oh, you go to school, you use the bathroom with the genitals you have, or don't use the bathroom at all. And I'm like, I had to use the fucking nurse's bathroom. I had to walk from like the 5th floor of the art room all the way down to the nurse's bathroom, which was, at least it wasn't them trying to cram me into the bathroom that I didn't want to go into. I didn't take a gym class with locker rooms to completely exempt myself from that, but since that's such a big issue for other people right now, it's beyond me. I don't know why, like, there's so many bigger things happening right now that I don't know why bathrooms should be such a big deal with anything. Like, we're peeing? Sorry? There's a reason that I got punched in a bathroom, I could definitely say, is because I got so fed up with all the people, staring at me or telling me, like, or making scoffing little offhand comments or whatever, to the point where the first time I did this, I was in school. And I went to the choir bathrooms because none of the, like, machismo guys used the choir bathrooms because it's fucking choir bathrooms. Like, that's where all the artsy kids went. They all knew me. It was fine. But I went in there, and I think I was in with a friend, and I was talking to him, and my voice is obviously not the deepest thing. It's definitely a little higher, so I get it. I was talking, and one of these kids came in after us, and he wouldn't go use the urinal. He went into the bathroom for a reason, but because I was in there, he was refusing to use the bathroom until I left.
And there was a male centerfold toothpaste in my windshield of my car. So that, people knew, but, it was like the middle of winter and you had to scrape that. I was out there before school trying to scrape it off. But worse things, I mean, I look at today's society and a lot worse things are happening, you know, since then. People getting beat, people, you know, I guess, you know, I feel lucky that that didn't happen to me. I know friends that has happened to. One a good friend that was a drag queen here for a while, she moved away now, but Stella Dallas was, lost an eye to the beating that she received.
But then the second time when I, you know, said some offhanded bullshit to someone because they said it to me, I was in a Village Inn bathroom. And there was this, like, middle-aged, you know, 50-60-year-old white guy, you know, just using the bathroom. I go in and I'm walking towards the stall and he scoffs and says, "I didn't know they allowed faggots in the bathroom." And which I turned around to him and said, "Then why'd they let you in?" And then he punched me in the Village Inn bathroom. I can say some of it was my fault, but still, like, why? I was like 18, 17 years old. Why are you punching teenagers in the bathroom? Why even commented on the first place? So I guess it's his fault too, a little.
I'd say the most legitimate oppression that, like, is very relevant to me is when my mom, I never had, like, a coming out story. My mom just, like, found out, and that was, like, wild. And I moved out, I was 15, I went to my grandma's house, it was nuts. She would, like, throw shampoo bottles at me and call me a faggot, and I hated it. But when I was 17, I moved to Chicago, and I didn't really have any oppression until I moved back to Omaha. And I feel like the biggest oppression in Omaha was last election season, when I would stand up for what's right, and somebody would think that I'm really standing up for it because I'm a gay person. And it's not just because I'm a gay person, it's because I'm a decent person.
Masculine, because, like, the weird thing is whenever you, like, realize you're trans, you're like, I have to be in this category. I have to be as manly as humanly possible. I'm wearing sweater vests and fucking jeans that make my curves non-existent, and I'm wearing $60 cologne, gelling my hair back, all those things. But when I was like that, obviously, you know, I passed better, I guess, but then people definitely bullied me a lot more. So there's, like, been times where I'd walk, you know, with one of my boyfriends home and somebody's thrown a rock at me and screamed faggot out the window, and, like, I have people stare at me or, like, purposefully misgender me. Like, you can tell, like, in their voice that everything that they're hurling at you is with fire. Or, like, I don't know, being redirected to places like, oh no, the lady section's over there. Like,
I guess I recently came out, like, probably within the last year. So growing up, I went to Catholic school, and it was just, like, not an okay thing. Like, nobody, I mean, there were a couple, like, gay kids, but it's like you heard of gay and maybe lesbian, but never bisexual. Like, there just wasn't any. So I didn't really know what it was when I was a kid.
The reason I think I skipped my Spanish class. I had a perfect A in Spanish. I had a perfect, pristine, 100% perfect A. Because I passed all of our quizzes and our homework and stuff, but I was never present in class other than test days, because literally about 3/4 of the whole class would say a bunch of really rude shit about my, like, you know, the way I look. And the fact that I'm going by male pronouns. Because I literally transitioned from sophomore being, like, completely effeminate to junior, new name, new clothes, new identity. This is me now. So that just huge leap. So I'd skip all the time. Like, that kind of fucked with my schooling a lot. I wasn't a dumb kid. I was just scared. So there's only maybe one other trans person that went to school with us that was at least out. Like, in a comparison of what, 700, 800 plus kids. Like, it's terrifying. It's like existing still is terrifying. I guess the fluidity, like, makes it easier on people now. But once they hear anything about my pronouns or my name and stuff, that's when they're like, oh no, you're one of those. You're a trans trender. Ever heard that one, trans trender? Gross. It's like, nah, I've been out for about 7 years. So I don't know if I'm being trendy. But that's okay.
I guess I kind of discussed it with my friends first, like a couple close friends, and they were super supportive, or like they had questions. And then recently I was talking to my mom, actually maybe a couple months ago, and it was just like over lunch, and I was just like, oh, by the way, I'm bi, and she just goes, huh, okay.
But I do remember the most significant coming out thing, if I'm forgetting everything that happened with me and my mom, the most significant coming out thing is when I was moved to Chicago. I was 17 years old, and I had this good friend Mary, and she said something about me being gay. I'm like, no, I'm bi, huh? And she looked at me and she was like, no, you're not, you're gay. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. And from that point, I was just okay with being gay, you know what I mean? Because Nebraska is such a weird, bi now, gay later, culture. It helped that I didn't know anybody, and I had the anonymity of being in a new city.
The reason I knew, when everyone's like, when did you know, Nick? A lot of kids usually they know when they're really little. I did. A lot of people could see it too when I came out. They were like, oh, that makes sense. But I was 3 years old, and my favorite things in the world were my dad, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and John Travolta. Specifically Grease, John Travolta. And that's all I wanted to be, was the combination of those three things. And here I am, right?
I grew up in a small town of Iowa, so Denison, which was about a town at that time was about 13,000 people. Hop, skip, and jump from Omaha. So I came out in the early 80s. It was just after I graduated high school. Although didn't come out to my family until after that, but started coming here to Omaha, shortly after I graduated high school. Wasn't old enough to get the bars yet, but I did. But yeah, I mean, getting called lots of names in high school. The interesting fact about me in high school is that my dad was my high school counselor. He was also the head football coach and track and baseball. So it was kind of difficult with that behind you and me being gay. My coming out process from me was I had already accepted kind of the point where I was at. It was the fear of coming out to family. I lost my brother when he was 20, so now I was the only male in the family. And again, I told you about the situation with my dad being this macho guy, being the football coach and prominent figure in the small community I came from. It's kind of different with family because I kind of sat down and I was acting real depressed, and my dad just pretty much blurted it out for me. He asked me, Dan, are you gay? And at that point, there was still some, do I tell him yeah? What do I do? And I told him yes, and I don't know if my dad ever accepted it, but he, I guess he dealt with it. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna, come to the bar with you or party with your friends with you or whatever. But my mom, I think my mom took it a lot harder. My mom was thinking, oh my God, anything but that. And not that we were a religious family, because we weren't. But my mom had some alcohol issues, and she had some mental health issues that I think that caused some issues with her about the situation. And I think at that point in time, she was also concerned about my health. and being at that point in time coming out during that period and not really coming from a small town to a big city and with all that going on. Yeah, I think hers was more concern than it was that she didn't.
I knew for a long time, but the thing is, about, like, what gay and lesbian and bisexual, all those things, you learn about those earlier. I found out my sexuality a lot earlier than anything. Because at first I was like, I'm bisexual, and then I learned pansexuality, and I was like, oh, word, that works more. So I took that. I still say I'm, gay as hell, but that's because I'm fairly gay as hell. But the coming out thing, it was gradual. At first it was just to closer friends. And then, it came out to, like, my siblings. My siblings were the second one. My sister was one of the main ones, Sandy. And then when it came to my parents, my mom, I didn't try to come out to her. Like, I had already come out, with the sexuality thing twice. So, that was a lot already. But she found out I was being bullied on Tumblr. So then she looked at my Tumblr, to be like, oh, what's happening to Nick? And then she finds out, wow, my kid's trans. So then, my mom, I come home and she's like, we need to talk. And I'm like, what did I do? Huh. So we sit down and she kind of forced it out of me, the fact that I was trans. And she's like, oh, it's okay. And I'm like, all right, all this anxiety for nothing. But word, fine, cool. She's cool with it. She got me a therapist so I could try and further my transition. I wish I would have, but, in due time.
How did your friends take it?
Some took it tough. I think my oldest friend that I had in high school, I think was dealing with his own sexuality and pretty much cut me off, cut and dry. And I think it was like, I don't know, 10 years later, I ran into him at the gay bar here, and he had a boyfriend, and it was like, okay, So I think it was a way that people may not have felt comfortable with their own sexuality, but I think I helped a lot of friends to come to realization that, hey, this is who you are. There's no hiding from it. And you can run for it for so long, but it's going to be what it is. Really, not that many problems with friends. It was more afraid to come out at work. Working was I worked for Catholic, when I first came to Omaha, I worked for the Catholic Archdiocese, and so, and the reason why I actually got booted from the Archdiocese is that I was resident manager of a adolescent chemical halfway house, and a girl came up to me, a lesbian came up to me and was having issues with that process, with the coming out process. And, I told her, I said, if this is something that's causing you behavior issues and, chemical dependency issues and all sorts of things, she had problems with the law and family issues. And I said, is it worth it? And I really didn't come out to her, but I told her, I told her some things about me that I think she was able to figure out what I was trying to get at. And of course, at the end of it, I said, it's okay to be you. And of course, she took that information back to the counselor, and the counselor, they're like, yeah, we have to say something. But it's like a week later, I was called in the office and said, you can't have those type of conversations with clients.
For sure could have been sooner. I mean, like I said, I didn't really understand what it meant to be bisexual. Like, I didn't know that was an okay thing. Like, it's either black or white, and there's this gray now. And so I think going to Catholic school obviously repressed a lot, and I just kind of always was telling myself oh, it's probably just a phase, like you'll get over it. So I think if there were more supportive people, then probably could have and would have come out sooner.
Like, I was scared. I think it took me a couple of months after like completely figuring out my identity. And just like the fact of, well, one, we get murdered a lot. Like, I watched Boys Don't Cry, I think 2 or 3 months after I transitioned. That was horrifying. Like, that's trauma almost. Like, So yeah, it's like that, because one, we get killed for for being us, which is just no, please no. It's close, it's nice, but we got some movement, definitely. There's some good pockets. There's a lot of really nice things. Like we have more trans youth groups. We have more like larger groups of things. More people are melding together. It's getting better and it's nicer, but there's still like hatred within the group against others, which sucks because you have gay kids hating trans kids and then lesbians hating like gay dudes, and like it's because like we belong to the same acronym. I feel like we should just be able to we have all these other people, fucking with us. Why do we have to make it harder for each other than to? So I feel like we're doing good. We're in the right way. We're doing the right things, but like we need to do better. Just a little bit. Please.
The LGBT community means to me, like, I think everyone should be and can be involved in it as long as you're supportive of one another. Like, you can totally be straight and be part of the LGBT community as long as you're supporting everyone in it.
Heaven and hell. I think it was very, very good for me at the beginning. I think it gave me a place that I felt I could be myself and not fear. Like I said, things have changed so much, and I really wish and hope that there could be more acceptance within our community and less hate between people in our community, and get back to the togetherness the way it was when I first came out.
The LGBT community, to me, means hard work, resilience. And I think the LGBT community has subsectors. Like, I feel like, there's the LGBT community, but then there's like the cisgendered, like, white gay males, and then there's like the gay males that are people of color, and then the people who get the most hate is the queer women, and they're all totally different experiences. So I feel like the LGBT community is broad and resilient. I mean, it's been resilient for years, but I'm a fighter and I like to fight for the underdog. So when I think of LGBT community, I think of what I need to do, and then I think of like women of color who are queer, and that's what I need to be fighting for, I guess. My advice would be that they just need to be themselves and be loud about it. The best thing I ever did was be loud and shameless about being gay. And I'm just one dynamic of the whole LGBTQ population, but once I decided to be loud and shameless and annoying and in your face, I felt happy. And people who didn't accept that, they didn't really have a choice because I was not going to change. So I feel like young people just need to be shameless, which is hard. It's hard, but that's the best thing you could ever do for yourself.
Members?
My advice would be, I mean, if you're nervous about like coming out or like have questions, start with talking to a couple of really close friends, because they're going to be your...
My advice would be to younger LGBT is that really think about what you want to do with your life. Don't make sexuality who you are. Make it a part of you. But don't let your sexuality define you. Because you're more than just lesbian. You're more than just gay. You're more than just transgendered. You are a person, and you're a person who lives in this society, and you're a valuable person who lives in this society. So, get away from the labels. Don't label yourself. You're human. And know that's the first thing I think you need to know. You're human, you're not your sexuality.
Okay, when you're young and you're coming out, there's always somebody who knows, and there's always going to be somebody who will support you no matter what. And identifying that person and not being in the dark, like, because young people, you think that nobody knows and nobody supports you, but when you're young and going through it, like, you know that somebody's there, so you have to. I don't want to say have to, because I don't ever want to tell anybody what to do when you're going through personal. But somebody is always there, and you have to identify them and confide in them. Because I waited far too long to identify them with people.
I've been involved with Imperial Court of Nebraska for over 20 years. Served as emperor of that organization.
Could you talk a little bit about what that is?
It's a national-wide gay fundraising organization who raises money for all different types of causes. And of course, when I first started, it was, AIDS-related. Thousands and thousands of dollars were made. I started with the organization in 1994, or 95. It was reign 15 here. We're on reign 38 now. So I started working behind the scenes, helping them put stuff together, helping them do sets, helping them, if they had a food thing, helping them set up food, take it down. And then you kind of slowly work yourself into getting what they would say part of a royal family. They have an emperor and an empress, and then they have their family line. So I slowly, went from prince, and then the next year I moved up to Prince Royal, and then the next year I ran for emperor. And so, it was kind of follow along. Somebody would kind of mold you and get you prepared to become an emperor. And wonderful organization that does a lot of good work within communities. And it's not just gay related or causes.
Teenagers or kids that are watching this, how would you get involved with something like that if you wanted to be a part of that organization?
I would say first, show interest, maybe get a hold of a member. A lot of times when people are out in the community, especially at icon events, they'll be wearing badges that will say, I'm an icon member, or you'll see the crowns, or there might be a poster or something going on. I would say approach one of the members, get involved, see what you can do behind the stage to help. Maybe if you there's a lot of times where they have bake sales. They're always looking for like small donations of gift cards and stuff for like raffle prizes. Whatever you can do to get your foot into the door.
In addition to the Imperial Court of Nebraska, other institutes such as the Heartland Pride has made it their mission to provide a safe atmosphere for LGBT folks. Heartland Pride's biggest achievement is their parade and celebrations during the month of June, otherwise known as Pride Month. In addition, this organization works year-round to provide events such as dances and scholarships for LGBT youth. For more information for this organization, visit www.heartlandpride.org.
It's like gender is whatever we want it to be. You can't dictate anybody else's. You don't know another person as much as they know themselves.
As you know, in the 80s and 90s, of course, the AIDS epidemic was prevalent. And it was so focused around, the community was so focused around that issue at that point in time. A lot of the friends that I made and that I had didn't survive that crisis. And, it was pretty much funerals about at least once a month, if not twice a month. So you saw a lot of people that you became really close to and called family just die. And there's one of my best friends, Johnny, who him and his lover had been together maybe a little over 12 years, and I watched the deterioration from him from start to finish, and it was unlike anything you'd ever want to go through in your whole life, to see a person who was so vibrant just become a shell. And it was devastating. And the gay community then had a purpose and had a cause, and so everybody was united for that cause. Even you see how it's separated now, a little bit more. Everybody came together. The lesbians, the gay men, the leather men, the drag queens. Everybody was together for that cause and that purpose. And a lot of things have changed since then. And maybe, HIV and AIDS is not a death sentence now. People live with the disease. And so, not curable, but it's livable. And I see that now in today's society, other issues are coming up. Transgender issues are becoming real important. Other issues are being come to the forefront, that they're not being treated as strongly as the AIDS epidemic was, and they should be. Everybody in this community should band together with those type of issues. We're all human, and I think that's the aspect that's missing now, is the humanness, and everybody looks at their differences instead of their what they have in common. I was finally diagnosed in 2009, and at that point in time, I was almost full blown. My viral load was over 300,000. My CD4 count was 195, so I actually was full blown. And they put me on a trial, and I was on trial a lot longer than most people, and up to the point where they said if I was not undetectable by the time I was through with this next month, that they would have to drop me off the trial, and I'd have to find some other way to pay for medication. But I did go undetectable, but during all that time, a lot of stuff happened, and I went back to using chemicals myself. I went back to using alcohol again because of depression. Even though I knew the information that this is a treatable disease, it causes problems in social atmosphere. At that point in time, everybody looked at you as oh my God, don't go don't go with him, or don't hang around with him, or the saying back then, it wasn't the gay cancer, they called it the butt for back then. And those are people in your own community that were saying those things about you. And so you didn't really have anywhere to turn. And it's like you didn't feel like part of the community anymore because they were ousting you in the community for having something that used to be something that everybody is pulling for. And now you're just another. We don't have anybody else, and we do have each other, and I think that's the way we need to treat each other. I think the way the division's going down, we are our own worst enemies. And when we become our own worst enemies, I'll say it like Mama Jose said. She's who was the founder of the imperial court system. If together we're strong, divided, they pick us off one by one. And it was definitely a different era, and I don't know what it has to do with it or why it changed. But I think it became that a lot of it is that we aren't as oppressed now.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. Yeah, that's what we've become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. This is me. And I know that I deserve your love, 'cause there's nothing I am worthy of. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I was gay, 'cause I could draw. My uncle was, and I kept my room straight. I told my mom, tears rushing down my face. She's like, Ben, you've loved girls since before pre-K. Trippin'. Yeah, I guess she had a point, didn't she? Bunch of stereotypes all in my head. I remember doing the math, like, yeah, I'm good at Little League. A preconceived idea of what it all meant. But those that like the same sex have the characteristics. The right-wing conservatives think it's a decision, and you can be cured with some treatment in religion. Man-made rewiring of a predisposition, playing God. Oh nah, here we go. America the brave still fears what we don't know. And God loves all his children, it's somehow forgotten. But we paraphrase a book written 3,500 years ago. I don't know.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm. She keeps me warm.
If I was gay, I would think hip-hop hates me.